We are headed back down the Richardson Highway toward the Denali Highway for a few days of what promises to be an amazing backcountry adventure.
The Denali Highway is 135 miles of gravel road, which takes travelers on a less often visited route. Our plan is to break up the drive over 3 days. Today we'll start by indulging in the incredible scenery of the Tangle Lakes Archaeological District, where we'll camp, hike, and find artifacts dating back thousands of years.
I want to show you guys something really cool.
As soon as we turned onto the Denali, we were greeted with our first surprise.
Guys, we got our first moose. Check these beauties out.
This cow and calf were in no rush as they gently trotted along the roadside, but we made sure to give them their space so as not to spook them. And before we knew it, they had disappeared into the trees.
That was a nice introduction to the Denali Highway. We were on the highway for less than a mile. Pretty cool.
If you're thinking about visiting Alaska and driving the Denali Highway, make sure to check the rental car company policies, as not all allow their vehicles on this remote and rugged highway.
So we're stopping to take a look at the Alaska Range and one of the notable glaciers, the Gulkana Glacier. Let me show you the Gulkana Glacier. Straight ahead, right there. You can see the way it winds out of the mountain. So that was formed from years and years and years of snow accumulation turning into solid ice, and then eventually the massive glacier got so heavy that it started kind of winding, pushing down of its own weight and eroding the sides of the mountain. So the Alaska Range stretches from the Cook Inlet all the way up to the Denali Mountains, and it is one of Alaska's feature mountain ranges with several peaks above 12,000 feet.
The Denali Highway is 135 miles long and travels from Paxson to Cantwell. The first 15 miles are paved, and even though the remainder is smooth gravel, there are a lot of potholes which require slowing down and taking in the sights.
We're headed west on the Denali Highway, or what I like to call the Pothole Highway, and let me show you why.
This isn't exactly the worst road we've ever driven, but with all the dips and potholes, it would have been worth airing down a little beforehand. Nevertheless, the van was holding its own.
This highway has more potholes per square mile than any other highway in America. Ah! We're at our second viewpoint. I wanted to point out Mount Wrangell, which stands at over 14,000 feet and 78 miles as the crow flies. That is the northernmost active volcano in the Pacific Rim chain of volcanoes.
We soon crossed into the Tangle Lakes archaeological area, a spot I'd been looking forward to as we were planning in the weeks leading up to the trip, because of its high concentration of native Alaskan artifacts. But first, we were on the hunt for something sweet for the next morning, and had heard that the lodges in the area sold fresh baked goods.
We're in the Tangle Lakes Archaeological District, but right now we're stopping by the Tangle Lakes Tangle River Inn, and we're on a hunt for something, but it's not meat. Wow! Score! Let's take a look at the brownie here. See how it looks. Looks pretty good. Homemade, fresh baked. Maybe it's from Mrs. Fields, but better than no brownies at all.
With 130 something miles to go and several days to spend, there was really no rush to speed down the highway. So we decided to take our time, and after looking over several good spots, found this one near McLaren Summit. Alaska truly is a camper's paradise. McLaren Summit is the heart of Tangle Lakes, and has endless views of the verdant valleys below and glaciers in the distance. We just knew we had to camp here and spend some time exploring.
So it's about 4 o'clock and we have, after a great deal of searching, found a camp spot. And there were some criteria that kind of had in my mind of, what I was hoping to find. One being no mud on the ground, because that stinks to track it inside the van. 2, some kind of view. 3, and most importantly, that the spot is level. 4, that it's off the road. Finding this spot was a matter of persistence. Check this out. Here's the van. Mount Shanda, Mount Hayes, and the Alaska Range. And then down here, we've got a view of this incredible valley. Night 4 and dinner 4. Let's find out what's cooking. Looks like we have some fried tortillas with onions and bell pepper. And what's in there next?
Eggs and cheese.
Eggs and cheese. So it's 1:45 a.m. in the morning. I wanted to show you this is the darkest part of the day. And check out what this looks like right now. What a surreal moment in this Alaskan summer. 12,000 years ago, toward the end of the Pleistocene, the glaciers in this area began to recede, and the first group of ancient inhabitants, called the Denali Complex people, inhabited this area and began to hunt. There was a cooling trend from about 5,000 to 10,000 years ago, and this time period is known as the Great Gap, and there's very little archaeological evidence that anyone lived here. And then around 5,000 years ago, the climate once again began to warm, and this area once again turned into tundra, which brought the caribou herds, which of course brought a new group of inhabitants, which are known as the Northern Archaic. So there's plenty of evidence of ancient habitation even right here. You have to know where to look though, and I want to show you guys something really cool. Let's go take a look. One of the fingerprints of the Denali complex was a certain type of tool that they would make using antler cylinders, probably from caribou, along with a stone or bone spear point. I gotta show you this. So we were looking around on the ground here and noticed at first what I thought was like some kind of pipe, but if you turn it over, you'll notice the bone-like structure and veins. There are several pieces here, all broken up. And then if you look over here, you'll notice this very sharp bone. I suspect that these antler fragments were once part of an ancient hunting tool.
According to this sign, the Tangle Lakes district is home to over 600 archaeological sites, many of which contain beaver and caribou bone, which would have been used for weapon manufacturing. Is it possible that these artifacts are from ancient hunters? If not, what other explanation could there be?
How cool is that? And one thing that's important to note is that in the tundra, where the temperature stays cool and very cold most of the year, things like this are much more easily preserved. Really incredible.
Before long, the day was warming up and it was time to get out on a hike to explore more of this area.
So before we head back down toward the McLaren River and along the Denali Highway, we're taking a short hike on the McLaren Summit Trail. Let's see where it leads.
Tangle Lakes is one of the oldest known human occupation sites in Alaska and spans over 80,000 acres. As we hike today, we'll look for small artifacts such as bones and rock points, which may be evidence of this prior habitation. Most of the archaeological sites here are on the hills above lakes, where caribou would have gathered to graze on the exposed lichen, therefore making it a natural primeval hunting ground. Many of these hills are the remnants of glacial eskers, ridges left after glaciers pushed sand, rock, and silt into mounds as they grew and receded. Eskers would have been excellent travel routes, especially in difficult terrain such as wetlands and tundra, as they are dry and well-drained, rising above the lowlands and making long, continuous ridges that form natural trails.
So we're off the main McLaren Summit ATV trail on what I believe is an ancient Native American trail. Let me show you what it looks like. It follows this ridge here all the way. So we'll look for things like bone fragments, cutting tools, maybe pit houses, fire rings, as evidence of the lives of ancient people. So at one point this lake was quite a bit higher, at least a few feet, because you can see there's a creek that used to run out of it down to the valley below.
As we walk along the trail, so many questions come to mind. What did this exact spot look like several thousand years ago? How did the ancient people survive the harsh winters? For us, there will be much that remains unanswered. But standing here, it is not hard to imagine the ancient caribou herds and the hunters that followed close behind. And as we looked around, we found more probable artifacts to complement our morning discoveries, like these quartz shards and bones. In places like this, one need only look closely to witness remnants of the past.
So we found several pieces of quartz lying on the ground, little shards or fragments, which is probably the primary rock used for cutting tools. Let me show you a large chunk.
This small rock may have been transported long distances to be used as a core from which to make tools. After exploring for a while longer, we made our way back to the trail and then to the van where we looked for a camp spot for the night.
We're currently driving on an esker, E-S-K-E-R. This is a mound of silt and gravel and stuff that was formed as a result of a glacier pushing through here. But it's this long, elongated mound that rises above the rest of the plain here.
The Denali Highway has no shortage of camp spots, but I have found that because we're spending a good portion of our day there, being patient and being willing to put in the extra effort to find an epic spot that suits my vision usually does pay off, even if it's not the first, second, or even third place we look.
Night 5, campsite 5. After much searching, we have finally found this spot here. It's getting a little bit difficult to keep up with the epic level of camp spots that we have found. And behind us here, we have the Alaska Range. So here's the view from the top of the van. As you can see, definitely you can see more
Finding moments like this to slow down, take in the perspective, and listen to the wind are some of the most important on a camping trip, as they help you to feel the silence and stillness of the wilderness.
All right, good morning everybody. Today is day 6. We are headed down the Denali Highway and I think we got about 35 miles more to go. We're gonna be able to get our first glimpse of Denali, the great 20,000 foot tallest peak in North America.
After a delicious cinnamon roll from the McLaren River Lodge and a hot cup of coffee, we were once again ready to hit the highway. On the next segment of our journey, we'll finish the route down the Denali Highway, visit Denali National Park, check out the Stampede Trail, and visit the iconic bus from the movie Into the Wild. As always, thanks for watching this episode. Please click like and leave a comment. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button to follow along on future adventures.